Hey guys, Matt here. I want to cover Q4 2020 of Skillz, but first I need to get one quick thing out of the way. I don't know how to use a microphone, and I got this super cool microphone, and I used it in my last video, but apparently it was too far away from my face. So I know there's some of you out there that are trying to help me out. This is probably temporary because it's kind of, at least it's odd to me that it's in the shot like this, but hopefully the audio is better. So I apologize if this is distracting, but for now, Skillz. Skillz, which has the ticker symbol SKLZ, they just had their Q4 2020 earnings yesterday on March 10th. So today is March 11th, and I wanted to cover what exactly happened in the Q4 earnings report. I really like Skillz. I like Skillz a lot, mainly because, as you know, I've been covering Roblox a lot on this channel. I think I've done 5 videos, and 3 of them having come within the last week or two. And Skillz actually has more or less exactly the same business model, just in a different area, if you will. It's gaming, but not quite the same, right? Skillz is not trying to create a metaverse or a virtual reality, universe where you can go play games, meet up with your friends, and do all that kind of stuff. Skillz is kind of a cross between that and a gambling app. So I I hesitate to say gambling only because legally it can't be gambling. And the way Skillz gets around that, in case you're not familiar, is Skillz has games like, let's say, Blackjack. However, instead of playing a house dealer like you normally would on any kind of blackjack game or in real life, what you're doing is you're playing another player. You each get the same deck of cards dealt the same exact way, and the game is modified a bit to where it's more of an arcade version of the game, where if you play the cards a certain way, you get certain points, and as these points rack up, there's ways to boost your points, to get bonus points, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to see this a little bit further, I did a deep dive on Skillz, due diligence video, if you will, on what it looks like in the app, how much it costs to play, what the revenue sharing is for Skillz and the developers. And you can click up here at the top right to go check that video out if you want to look more into kind of my deep dive on it. But for the purposes of this video, Skillz is not gambling, but you're playing typical gambling games. They're able to sidestep the legalities around gambling because there is no chance in it when it comes to the cards being dealt. Since they're dealt the same way for both people, it comes down more to skill, hence the name Skillz. So if you believe you can best your opponent and you put up 50 cents and they put up 50 cents and the pot is at $1, the winner will probably leave with somewhere around 80 cents, and then the house takes 20 cents. And the house is comprised of 2 parties, not just Skillz. Skillz is definitely one of them, but the other party is the developer who made the game. This is why I love the business model so much, and why I see this as similar to Roblox, is because Roblox, as we all know if you're watching my other videos on Roblox, developers go on, they make their own games on the Roblox platform, they then make money from people spending money in-game, and then Roblox takes a portion of that revenue, and it's the same kind of developer owning company entity split. So same exact thing here on Skillz. Developer makes a game, and Skillz gives them the platform to make that game and host the game, and they split the revenue within their game. To me, it's a recurring feedback loop. You've probably heard me say that a few times on my Roblox videos and my previous Skillz video. I love that business model. I don't see how it can lose as long as it offers a great product and it's fun to play. And I enjoyed it when I used it, and I don't see any problems with it. So let's jump into the nitty gritty of the video. Skillz platform EPS misses by 4 cents, beats on revenue. So that's going to be the big header that you're going to see if you search any of this information anywhere. It's going to be that their earnings per share was a miss. It came in under by 4 cents. They were projecting to come in at negative 10-cent loss earning per share, and they actually came in at negative 14 cents. However, I'm not worried about that. I don't care about that right now because Skillz is in a growth phase. We'll jump into that in a moment, And I'll go deeper into that once we can take a look at more of the nitty-gritty financials and where all the money is going. But at a high level right now, what is really important to me and what really matters is that revenue for 2020 was $67.72 million, which is a 94.9% year-over-year growth. They beat their revenue estimate by $5.23 million. Additionally, their gross marketplace volume grew by 78% to $463 million during the fourth quarter of 2020, compared with $259 million during the comparable quarter in 2019. What is gross marketplace volume? That is the amount of money people spend to enter a game. So remember that example that I just went over. You pay 50 cents, your opponent pays 50 cents. That dollar, that is gross marketplace volume. Now remember, that does not mean that money is going to Skillz. It does not mean it's going to the developer. Most of that money ends up going back to the people putting the money up so that they can win money on a skill-based game. So roughly, 5 to 10% is going to Skillz, 5 to 10% is going to the developer. The numbers vary from game to game. They also vary depending on how much of a stake you're willing to put up in the game. And it looks like Skillz provided some revenue guidance for 2021 of $366 million. So let's take a look at another article from Seeking Alpha that goes a little bit deeper into this. Skillz outperforms fourth quarter and full year 2020 financial results. So going back to what I just touched on at the end of the last article, the revenue guidance issued for $366 million for 2021, that doesn't make sense unless you have something to relate it to. Their guidance for 2020 was $225 million. So as we know, they beat that by $5 million. They came in at $230 million. That's great. $366 million, that's a lot bigger than $225 million that they were expecting for 2020. We're talking about probably, what is that? Quick math off my head, I'm not sure, roughly 50% in 1 year. That's huge. If that is a guidance they are issuing, that's a pretty bullish signal to me. Looking at a quote here from the CEO and founder of Skillz, our first quarter as a publicly traded company was our 20th consecutive quarter of revenue growth. We look forward to many more such starts ahead. So they have been growing for 5 years straight. Revenue has just gone up and up and up and up and up. And it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon, especially with an estimate 50% over what they made in 2020. Looking at some other financial metrics, we can see that gross profit grew by 95% to $64 million during the fourth quarter of 2020, compared with $33 million. Gross margin was 95% during the fourth quarter of 2020, consistent with 2019 fourth quarter. And the net loss was $44 million during the fourth quarter of 2020, compared with a net loss of $9 million. This goes back to what I was talking about, the earnings per share that we're going to end up going into in a moment. One last item I want to look at before we start going into what they're spending their money on and why there is a loss for the quarter and for the year of 2020. As of December 31st, 2020, the company had $263 million of cash and no debt. I love that. No debt, a lot of cash. They need to deploy that cash. They need to spend it. Keep that in the back of your mind as we go into this next section. Now we can take a look at some more of the financial metrics behind Skillz 2020 year and fourth quarter. So the biggest thing I want to hit on here is why earnings per share is a miss on the negative downside, and why they're spending so much money. Why are they at a net loss if their revenue has grown so much, their profit has grown by 95% year over year? Why are they still losing money? Well, as we know, they just went public. And any company that just goes public, usually what they're doing is they're raising money. That's why they go public. Unless it's direct listing, then they usually have private funding rounds ahead of time before they go public, like Roblox. However, on Skillz, they went public, they need cash, and they want cash because they have a growth mindset. They want to grow, 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 grow. And with a growth mindset, you're going to spend money. You're going to spend a lot of money because you're not looking at the short term, you're looking at the long term. What is a potentially problematic issue is if you spend a lot of money and there is no growth, and you start waiting for growth and you don't see revenue increases and you don't see profit increases over time, right? Then you're spending money for no reason. You're spending money in a way that obviously isn't helping you. That's not what we're seeing here. Skillz is spending money and their revenue is skyrocketing. So let's take a look at what they're spending money on just to make sure it makes sense. So going back to the column just so we understand what we're looking at, You have the 3 months ended in the two columns for 2020 and 2019 over here on the left, and then on the right you have year ended December 31st, 2020 and 2019. I'm going to be looking at the right side, particularly the 2020 column, just so we can understand where the money has gone for the year of 2020. So cost of revenue. You have research and development, sales and marketing, general and administrative, and the total costs and expenses. So obviously there is money being spent on R&D, research and development. That's important. They have to develop the app. They need engineers to continuously push this into developing games that will best suit potential partners and people that they have already partnered with, such as the NFL. We don't have those games yet. We know that that's coming down in the pipeline. And again, if you want a little more in depth on that, take a look at my previous video. I go further into that NFL partnership. Those type of partnerships, the games that are currently on the platform, I personally don't see the games like Blackout Bingo and the Blackjack game and Poker game and the Pool game and all the different kind of games they have. I personally don't see those kind of games really fulfilling the expectations of the partnership with the NFL. I think the NFL is going to need something a little more interactive, something that suits a younger crowd, because the NFL is looking for games for younger generations in order to bring them into being NFL fans. That's kind of the win-win scenario here. Skillz gets a lot more attention, a lot more spotlight, and the NFL is able to put these games in front of a younger generation that will then hopefully make them NFL fans. So the games that are currently on there, in my opinion, don't necessarily cut it for that kind of partnership, but the partnership was made for a reason. So they have to be developing something. And these games are, if I remember correctly, they're slated to come out end of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, potentially beginning of 2022. You need research and development for that. So that's basically what I see research and development going into, is the engineering and the development of those type of games behind the scenes. You also have general and administrative costs. That's a big one. So 42 million roughly on general and administrative, and that can most likely be comprised of just expanding your team, having more people, all the personnel you need in order to make this happen. So long story short, I don't want to belabor the point, but they are spending a lot of money. Loss from operations is at 99 million, roughly just under $100 million. All of that equates to a net loss for the year of 2020 at $122 million, or a loss of 42 cents per share. If we go just to the quarter, then we can see the 14-cent loss per share on the quarter, but for the year it's at 42 cents. We can take a look at the full year for 2019 and see that they lost 9 cents. But as we know, 2020, they went public, they made some strategic partnerships, they raised money, and they're doing what they should be doing, in my opinion. I really like the company. I like the stock. I like everything they're doing. I like the app. I'm on the app occasionally, once in a blue moon, and it's pretty fun. So let me know what you guys think about their Q4 2020 earnings, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like. If you are not subscribed and want more content like this, then by all means, please consider subscribing. If you'd like to talk further with myself or anybody else that's following along, we have a Discord channel, link in the description. And then, as always, I usually never say this in a video, but I figure I might start throwing it out there, and I figure I might just put it at the end of the video for right now. If you aren't currently trading stocks and you'd like to get 2 free stocks with a $100 deposit into Webull, then there's a link down below. Now keep in mind, I will always tell you what I get from these type of things, and I also get 2 free stocks. So if you want to help out the channel as well and get a minimum of a 16% return on $100 right away, because the 2 stocks you get have a minimum value of $8 each, then you can help the channel get a 16% return on your money for $100 on Webull, and it's a win-win scenario. So I'll see you on the next one, guys. See you.